So, welcome to today's presentation. My name is Peter Yusuf, Senior Market Analyst at IronFX. We're going to be mixing technicals with fundamentals today. And actually, we're now working on USD CAD's chart. As always, should you want to see any specific trading instrument, feel free to name it in the comments section. If we have time, actually, today's presentation is going to be a bit short. But even if we don't have any time, we could definitely make time tomorrow and have a look at it in depth. USD CAD. USD CAD has two characteristics in my opinion. A has a continuous upward movement, maybe with one exception being right here. But other than that, you can see continuous upward candlesticks. And to tell you the truth, the correction or the stabilization of the pair right here may have been also a result of the intense upward movement the previous day. So overall, the bullish sentiment seems to be maintained. I would say that it intensifies, and it would be more evident if we see at the RSI indicator just below the daily chart, as it is nearing the reading of 70. Now, the second element I would like to highlight here is the fact that the price action has broken above the 1.3780 resistance line. It's actually a bit fresh, yet it's being supported by an upward trend line, as we have mentioned before. So we do consider that as valid. We are going to be now switching the role of the 1.3780 resistance line into a support line. And let's go hunting for a new ultimate resistance level. Unlocking the chart, going back. Further and further back, it's going to, here we go. We have a nice peak right here in red. That would be the 1.4260. Locking it in. We could add it a little bit lower, but I think I would like to take the whole thing of the upward movement. So let's reposition the chart and correct the labels. Starting with the S3, which is now being placed at 1.3520. The S2 at 1.3610. The S1 at 1.3780. The R1 at 1.39. The R2 at 1.4040. And the R3 at 1.4260. Locking everything in. Now, definitely we tend to maintain a bullish outlook on a technical level for the pair. And we wouldn't be surprised to see the pair starting to aim, or at least pave the way for the 1.39 resistance line. Mind you, we have an interesting element which I have not mentioned. Would be the fact that the price action is flirting with the upper Bollinger Band. Now, on the one hand, this does highlight the strong bullish sentiment of the market. On the flip side, though, it may force the bulls to slow down or even cause a correction lower. As long though as the price action remains above the upward trend line, we maintain our bullish outlook for the pair. So should there be a correction lower, we will treat it as a correction as long as it remains above the upward trend line. On a fundamental level, we definitely highlight the release of BOC's interest rate decision later today. Now, the bank is widely expected to remain on hold. I would be highlighting here that CAD OIS imply the probability for such a scenario to materialize at 87%. That's a little bit lower than it was the previous days. The expectations were even higher. But the outlook for a rate cut sorry, in today's American session by BOC seems to be quite strong. At this point, I would also note that CAT OIS also imply another thing. They imply that the bank is priced in to provide another 2 rate cuts within the year, one in October and one in December. Now, should the bank actually cut rates as expected, we may see a bearish market reaction for the Canadian dollar that would be bullish for USD CAD. Possibly due to the disappointment of that market share, which tended to expect the bank to remain on hold. Such traders will be forced to reposition themselves and their attitude towards the market. But I think that most of the attention will be turning towards the bank's accompanying statement in search of clues whether the bank is prepared to continue cutting rates within the year or not. Now, should the bank actually imply that more rate cuts are to come, that would more or less verify the market's expectations for 2 more rate cuts in October and December and could amplify the bearish effect on the CAD, thus a bullish effect on USD CAD. On the flip side, should the bank imply in its accompanying statement that a rate cut is sufficient and practically that's it, then we may see the Canadian dollar getting some substantial support, driving USD CAD lower. And that would be because A, it would take the markets by surprise. The markets expect 2 rate cuts. And that would force the market to reposition itself in total. So I would be focusing on practically the accompanying statement today. There is a chance that the bank remains on hold. Such a scenario would be causing asymmetric support for the Canadian dollar and a deep dive of USD CAD. However, once again, such a scenario is very remote right now. Currently, CAD OIS implied probability of around 13%, very low. So once again, attention, should the rate cut be delivered, would be placed, or is expected to be placed, on the accompanying statement. Okay, let's have a look at EURUSD. Now we had the release of EURUSD dropped even further. Now before we start, we had the release of the preliminary PMI figures. So at this point, allow me to have a look on what happened as such and discuss the market reaction in detail. And okay, we had the preliminary PMIs for July. First of all, we had the GfK German consumer climate. That was better than expected. Still in the negatives, but improving and more than what the market expects, which could have been a little bit supportive for the euro. Let's have a look at the minute chart. Unlocking it. Going back. Give me a sec. Let's have a look where it was. Here. One more right here. The release tended to weaken the euro USD somewhat. So practically it did not bring the expected results. However, the market reaction was pretty low. We're talking about 4 pips. It was ignored by the market. On the other hand, though, we had the release of the preliminary PMIs, and the first out was France's services sector, which came in better than expected. It rose from 49.6 to 50.7, showing an expansion. That was a positive, and that caused a reaction of around 10 pips upside for Euro USD, showing a strengthening of Euro side of the pair. On the flip side, Germany's manufacturing sector rose. No, it did not rise. It actually dropped even further. It was at 43.5 and dropped to 42.6. It was expected to rise. Man, the market may have had a big surprise right here. You can see how the pair instantly dropped at the time of the release around 13 pips and then continued falling, while the release of Eurozone's composite PMI came in lower than expected as well. Let's have a look what time that was. Here, slight bearish effect. Practically the market priced in the movement right here. The contraction, the deeper contraction of economic activity for the German manufacturing sector was the main element which weakened the euro side of the pair and allowed it to dive even lower, despite having a slight correction higher in the past hour. So let's have a look. Yeah, in the past 2 hours. So we tend to remain bearish for the pair. And definitely the 1.0860 has to be turned into a resistance line. Let's reposition the levels as well. Note how the pair has been falling since yesterday. There was a small correction on Monday after the drop on Thursday and Friday, but was nothing substantial. So practically the bearish movement of the pair now can be also be characterized by the downward trend line. Let me call this in black. Now it's a very steep downward movement, and I actually doubt how sustainable that can be, but we have to note here that the past price action is still a way off the lower Bollinger Band. So that allows for the bears to have some room to play. On the other hand, I would be noting a small contrarian element, and that would be the RSI indicator. The RSI indicator has dropped, you can see it right here, has reached the reading of 50. And allow me to also add the S3. Locking everything in. Now, the RSI indicator has dropped, reaching the reading of 50. That would imply two things. A, the market's bullishness for the pair has disappeared. It has, to say it mildly, faded away, melted away. On the other hand, though, with the RSI indicator being at 50, That does also imply that bearish tendencies are still not present. They still have to emerge. We have to see the RSI indicator dropping below 50 and starting to aim for the reading of 30 for us to actually say that the bearish sentiment is there or is building up for the pair by market participants. So for the time being, we note this slight uncertainty, but the dominant feature of the pair's price action is the steep drop. And definitely we highlight the downward trend line. As long as the downward trend line remains intact, we maintain a bearish outlook for the pair. That would be more than obvious. And last but not least, I would like to have a look. Give me a sec. Not gold. At AUD USD. Steep drop. Back to the daily chart. And you can see how the downward motion has intensified. It's a clear-cut downward trend line guiding the pair. So we maintain a bearish outlook. Advise some caution here that the price action has reached the low Bollinger Band, is actually flirting with it right now. So that may slow down the bears somewhat, maybe even cause a correction higher. At the same time, we note that the RSI indicator has following the same steep drop lower and is nearing the reading of 30, implying a strong bearish sentiment on behalf of the market for the pair. Should the bears maintain control, I wouldn't be surprised to see the pair breaking the 0.6570, and we set the next possible target for the bears at the 0.6465 right here. That should sum it up for the day. From all of us here at IronFX, best wishes for solid trading.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So for today's session, we're going to be talking about how to chart like a pro. So basically a crash course on TradingView and how to use TradingView for your analysis. So before we get started, as per usual, a risk warning. Our products are traded on margin and carry a high level of risk, and it is possible to lose all your capital. These products may not be suitable for everyone, and you should ensure that you understand the risk involved. A disclaimer, the information in this webinar should not be considered investment advice or an investment recommendation, but instead educational material only. This material is just the personal opinion of the author and the client's personal objectives and risk tolerance have not been considered. IronFX is not responsible for any loss arising from any information contained herein, and redistribution of the material is strictly prohibited. So here's our agenda for today. So firstly, we'll look at what is TradingView, how you can use TradingView, TradingView's best practices, and secret TradingView tips. Okay, so obviously TradingView is just something you use when you are trying to figure out how exactly whether you should buy or you should sell to conduct your technical analysis, be it on Forex or even on your stocks. So it's a charting platform. It's also a social network since it does give you the opportunity to comment on others' charts and analysis, and also take a look at what other traders are trading. And is used by 30 million plus traders. So how do you use TradingView? So firstly, you want to load an instrument. In this case, we searched up Euro USD. But obviously, as even if you are searching for a stock, just put in the ticker into the symbol search and you can select any of the different brokers. At a comparison, to do this, you basically just click on the plus sign and you can compare any symbol. And this is really helpful for correlation. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But basically, for correlation, it just allows you to analyze another similar stock or currency in relation to the one that you're looking at. So I'll go a bit more in depth in a bit. So something like this. So here we have euro as well as euro dollar as well as DXY on the same chart. So it allows you to see whether they are correlated positively or negatively. So if your analysis on euro USD is bullish, and in the past you can see that on the DXY it's pretty similar as well. You might be able to use the same analysis for your DXY as your euro dollar. So when it comes to choosing a time frame, it really depends on your own trading strategy. But all you have to do is basically click on any of these time frames here. But you can also customize it. Um, there are more options when you click on this arrow here. Okay, for candlesticks, when you click on this icon, you can control whether you're looking at bars, candles, hollow candles, columns, lines, areas, so on and so forth. Even Heiken Ashi, we also use that. But basically, we normally use candles, as you've seen from our previous webinars. Okay, indicators. So there are a whole bunch of indicators out there. But basically, you can click on this button, search up the indicator that you're looking for. You can even favorite them so that it's easier for you to use them whenever you are conducting your analysis. Chart customization. So you go to chart settings and you can choose the colors of your candlesticks, the appearance, the price lines, all of those. So it's highly customizable, as you can see. And also from here, you can see there are different trading functions as well. So here we're looking at euro dollar paper trading, and you can see that for our sell and our buy, you can just conduct your your trades directly on TradingView itself. So you can see here we're buying 200,000 um from units from euro dollar. Okay, TradingView best practices. You want to look for charts that are really easy to read, charts that are well designed, and also you want to try and make sure that there are multiple monitors for you to analyze these charts on. Okay, there are a whole bunch of drawing tools as well. Okay, you can see the different trend lines, trend channels. Trend channel would be your parallel channels. There's also the vertical lines, horizontal rays for your support and resistance levels. Yeah, those are the functions that we use most of the time. Okay, secret trading view tips. There's the magnet tool over here, which allows you to uh, it basically allows you to check whether the price is at a weak area or at a strong area. Watch list. Basically, when you click on this icon, you can add a bunch of um, stocks or cryptos or forex currencies over here so that it's easier for you to toggle between the charts. Layouts, so you can add multiple layouts as well for your um to make your analysis easier. Okay, and screenshots. Just click on this camera icon and it's easy for you to share your analysis as well onto other platforms. Okay, some alerts. So you can also indicate what are the conditions for buy or sell. So it will alert you if those conditions are met. Okay, sometimes they also include, if you're looking at currencies, they might also include some news that's come or economic data releases that's coming out during that day or during that week so that you can be aware of the volatility uh, that comes with data releases. Okay, calendars. So yeah, so the calendar icon is here. So also give you an economic calendar and earnings calendar as well. Yeah, so you can see that there's a whole bunch of different functions all on one platform. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys, um, let me just pull up my trading view and we can go through some charts together. So if you have any requests, feel free to pop them into the chat. Okay, so you can see here from this book, let me just move my camera. So I'm gonna load a layout for myself. You can see I have one over here. So I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna use my own charts. But if you want to create a new layout, just click on new layout. Oop, yeah, and then you can label it accordingly as well over here. Okay, rename, and just add in a new name here. But I'm going to remove that since I already have my own layout here. Okay, I'll delete this later. Okay, so I think maybe to start off, let's take a look at our euro dollar together. So for euro dollar, um, okay, maybe to start off with the basic functions, as we went through in our slides, the watch list is over here. Click on it and then you can add, let's see here, you can add some more symbols to your watch list. It can be cryptos, commodities, currencies, really anything. Okay, and then this toolbar here makes things pretty easy because it has all of the functions that we typically will use when doing our analysis. So I'd like to start off with our higher time frame so that we get an idea of where prices are headed towards. Okay, so on our higher time frame, we see that prices are moving in kind of a ranging, they're kind of ranging. Let's see if there is a, okay, so we do have this ascending trend channel as well. We also have an ascending trend line here. So what makes a valid trend line is if there are at least 3 touches on it. Just to recap, okay, so at least 3 touches, okay, for your trend line and for our trend channel, you want to make sure you have at least 2 touches on the top and the bottom of our trend channel. But in this case, obviously, we have 3, but 2 is enough. Okay, so it's moving in a uptrend on our weekly time frame. Let's take a look at our daily time frame. Okay, this is not a valid trend channel or trend line because we don't have uh 3 touches on this line here. Okay, so we can see prices are definitely moving in an uptrend. So let's go in with some support and resistance levels. So for those, we will use the horizontal rays. Okay, so this is my first resistance. This level here will be my pivot. And lastly, my first support just here. Oh yes, so when you click on this template, you can um, actually apply some templates to your support and resistance levels when you're labeling them. Okay, and this is just in your toolbar as well. Okay, now let's look at our 4-hour time frame. Okay, and this is my second resistance and my first support here. Okay, I'm just going to label this as a intermediate level since price is currently at that level. Okay, and then my first support instead I will put it here. Okay, um, so next we're gonna pull out our Fibonacci levels. So for the Fibonacci levels, you basically click on this icon, right? And it's really similar to the MT4 icon as well if you're using that. Okay, and you click on settings to look at the different levels that you want to pick. So for retracements, we usually pick these 5 levels. Okay, and you can see that my 38.2 lines up with my first support, and my 23.6 as well. So it doesn't have to line up exactly at those levels, because we are looking for confluence areas instead of actual levels. So that's why, as long as they are kind of near that area, that's good enough. Okay. So I'm just going to keep the 23.6 and 38.2 so that I make sure that my charts are clean and clear for me to add more Fibonacci levels. Just a second. Okay. So let's see if we have any other Fibonacci levels first. Okay, I have a question. Okay, I think um you can actually add in a drawing template here. So for example, there are all of these different names, but if let's say I want to add a third resistance, okay, um okay, go to settings. You can change the color as well, and then my text here would be third resistance. Okay, so it's popped up here. So every time that I want to have a third resistance, for example, here, okay, I just have to click on this and then, oh, I think I didn't save it earlier. Yeah, okay, so this is the third resistance, so I'm gonna save this, save as third, yeah, here. Okay, so again, every time I want to use it, I'll just click on this and it will pop up here. Okay, so that's how we label the first and second support and resistance levels. Okay, where was I? Okay, next, let's look at Fibonacci projections. So for projections, which are basically the levels with 3 points, you click on this icon instead. So I think earlier it was looking like this. So if you click this arrow, you click on trend-based Fib extension, it'll give you the Fibonacci with 3 points. So that's the one that we're looking um for this Fibonacci technique. So actually, if you're new to Fibonacci techniques, you can also take a look at the Forex Army. I might briefly go through a little bit of it in this webinar, but I won't go too in depth. Um, but yeah, so let me just show you guys. Okay. So you can go into the forexarmy.com and it will give you the different types of Fibonacci techniques. So the one that I mentioned earlier was a projection, and we use the Fibonacci extension um, tool. Okay. So yeah, it gives you all of the basics for your Fibonacci techniques. Okay, but for this one, I guess I'll just briefly go through why we are using it. So for Fibonacci projection, you're looking for a flash kind of shape. So something like this, like a lightning bolt shape. Well, like that. Okay, so so yeah, so you can see that for our projection, we use 61.8, 78.6, and 100%. Okay, you can see my 78.6 is in line with my second resistance. My 61.8 is also in line with my first resistance. So I'm just going to keep those two levels. Okay, so okay, I think that's all the levels that we have. Maybe another retracement here. So another trick, instead of doing what I did earlier and uh, clicking on the settings and choosing individually, you can also just click on this and click all fibs, and it'll give you all of the Fibonacci levels so that you can see, like at one glance, what are the levels that line up, which in this case, you can see our 61.8 lines up nicely with our first resistance. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that. And you can also click this again and just select the one that you want. And this box here is a box that I use to highlight the different levels. So here to here, since we have a confluence area with this 261.8 Fibonacci levels. So confluence basically means that there's more than one Fibonacci level that lines up with our support and resistance. So that's just basically what a confluence is. Okay, so now the next step is to click on our indicators and look for indicators that support our analysis. So starting off with Ichimoku and MACD, because at one glance you can see exactly um what the signals are. So on our MACD, it's giving us a bearish signal, but on our Ichimoku, it's giving us a bullish signal here. Okay, so when this happens, that's the reason why you kind of want to make sure that you know how to use a few indicators. So for example, next let's use RSI and stochastic. Mm, Okay, so for example, for our stochastic here, okay, you can see that price made a higher low, whereas on our stochastic, it made a lower low. So this is a bearish signal, and it supports our analysis that price will continue to drop from our pivot. Okay, so another thing you can do is when you're clicking on these arrows, to show the direction of price, click on the template, and you can create your own template with a bearish arrow or a bullish arrow being green color. So it's the same thing as what we did for this line. Just click on it, click on settings, change the color, the style, anything you want, and then save it as a template. Okay, so you can see that both our MACD and our stochastic gives us the same analysis. or rather the same signal. Okay, so for the vertical lines, I use those when I'm looking for divergences. So basically what we are looking at for stochastic, when price makes a higher low, whereas stochastic or RSI give us a lower low, that's what we call a divergence. So I use these two vertical lines to indicate where the area in which the divergence is occurring. Okay, do you guys have any other questions or requests? Okay, if not, let's take a look at another chart. Maybe we'll look at gold. So, if you're looking at, oh yes, I wanted to talk about correlation as well. So basically, you just click on this search bar and you can search whatever symbol you are looking for. And these are the list of brokers. So for yeah, that you can select from. Yeah, but typically the prices and the charts would be about the same between brokers. Okay. Okay, I just want to show you guys some correlation things that you can do on TradingView as well. Okay, so this here is my FX book, and it basically gives you a list of all of the currencies that are correlated. So we typically will look for currencies lower than minus 80 and higher than 80. Okay, and you can choose your time frame depending on your trading strategy. I'm looking at 4 hours. So you can see here, for example, AUD, CAD, and Euro JPY, it's very negatively correlated. Or actually, let's look at AUD and USD JPY. Oh wait, what? Yeah, AUD CAD and USD JPY. So to start off, I'm just going to use two different charts to show you. Okay, so this is what our USD JPY charts look like, and this is what our AUD CAD charts look like. So if you're looking at them from two separate tabs, you can't really see any correlation between the two, negative or positive. So when you click on this compares or add symbol and search for USD JPY, okay, we'll normally look at the same price, same percentage scale. Okay, you can see how negatively correlated it is. So if we are expecting a bullish signal from our AUD/CAD, then we can expect a bearish signal on our USD/JPY, since they are almost negative 100% correlated. Okay, um, yeah, so that's basically what this plus symbol is for. It's quite useful when you use it in conjunction with this table here. Yeah, so that's for our negative. Maybe I'll do another example for a positive correlation. So here we have AUD USD and AUD CAD being 97.2% correlated. Okay, so I'm gonna look for AUD USD. Same percentage scale. Okay, so you can see um exactly how correlated they are, right? You can see that the price is pretty similar. Price movement is very similar here. And that's because they are 97.2% correlated. Okay, so this makes it really easy when you want to enter more than one price without having to analyze so many different charts. Since they are so positively correlated already, your analysis that you did for maybe AUD CAD can also be applied for AUD USD. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and analyze another chart together. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, you can see that prices. Oh yes, so if you click on this arrow like we did earlier, you can see there's different ranges, different days and months that you can customize as well. But I just like to stick with weekly, daily, and 4 hours. Okay, so let's start off by seeing if we have any trend lines or trend channels. Okay, I don't think so, but we do have an ascending or rather an uptrend here. And on our daily time frame, okay, we'll do the same thing. Okay, but this is obviously not a valid trend channel since we don't have at least 3 touches or 2 touches rather. But we can all agree that it is moving in an uptrend. Now in our 4 hour time frame, you can see price has started to drop. Okay, so going in with our support and resistance levels again, I'm using this horizontal ray, firstly placing it at this first resistance, this very high. And then my first support, I will just place it here. Okay, now going in with some Fibonacci levels again. I'm going in with a Fibonacci retracement, or rather, actually, this is a Fibonacci extension. So it's a Nike tip. You can see this tip kind of shape. Okay, so here we can see that um, my 127.2. Oh wait, okay, because even though this 127.2 lines up with our first support, it's no longer valid because price has already broken out of that area. So I'm just going to be highlighting this 161.8. Okay, zooming in, I'm gonna use another the same technique over here. Okay, you can see the 127.2 lines up nicely with my first resistance. Okay, now I'm gonna look for a retracement. Okay, and I'm gonna add another level here at this 50% level that's also in line with our this swing high here. Okay, my 23.6 also lines up. So I'm just going to keep my 23 and 50%. Okay, so you can see this area here, we have a confluence area. So price is likely to be attracted to such areas of confluence. So we will see it continue to drop. Yeah, but we'll have to see if it'll break out of this area and head towards our second support here. Okay. Okay, so let's look at some indicators to support this analysis again. You can see price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, giving us a bullish signal, whereas MACD is giving us a bearish signal. If we look at RSI and stochastic, okay, between these two areas, okay, we have the same thing as earlier. Price is making a higher low, whereas on our stochastic, it is moving in a lower low, which is also giving us a bearish signal. So it also supports our analysis. Okay, someone asked for Ethereum, so we'll definitely go through that now as well. Okay, so on our daily time frame, okay, I actually want to use the Coinbase one. Okay. So on our weekly time frame, we see prices definitely moving in this uptrend. And on our daily time frame, it's also in this uptrend. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add our support and resistance levels again. Over here, we have an overlap support. And my first, I'm just going to place this here. This is an intermediate level or my pivot. And then my first resistance, I'm going to place it here, maybe here instead. Because I don't want to cut too many bodies of candlesticks like this, okay, because it is very messy here and it makes it less effective. So I want to put it somewhere here instead. And lastly, my second resistance here. Okay, I'll get back to your question in a bit. Let me just finish analyzing this chart first. So same thing, I'm looking for Nike tick here. All fibs. You can see my Okay, my 127, actually this area lines up with our first resistance. 127 also lines up with our pivot. Okay, over here. 161.8 also lines up with our second resistance. So I'm gonna keep both of them. Okay. We don't typically use the other levels, uh, but yeah. This technique is basically for levels above 100. It's just that based off of back testing, we've realized that the 127 and the 168 are the most effective levels. So it's still obviously up to you what you choose to use. And now I'm gonna use a retracement. Okay, you can see my 23.6 lines up with my first support. Again, looking for retracement. You can see my 78.6 lines up with my pivot. Okay, so this is a confluence area as I've highlighted here, and we can definitely expect a lot of resistance here. Okay, yeah, so we might see it reverse off of our pivot or test this area quite a bit before it moves upwards towards our first resistance. Let's look at some indicators again. Okay, MACD and Ichimoku are giving us a bullish signal, which supports our analysis. Okay, someone asked if I have a marked up chart, but I want to look at the same asset on a clean chart. Mm, you can actually open another layout and look at that same chart on another layout. So on the first layout, you have all of your annotations, your analysis, and then on the other chart, it can be clean one. Also, can I mark up example dollar yen on two charts, one with Nike tick and the other with a different setting, so they can compare the two. Um, okay, so see, so for ETH, I have all my markings here, but you can see on my ETH here, on a new layout, it's completely clean. I think that's your question. Marked up chart, but I want to look at the same asset on a clean chart. So this is the marked up chart, this is the clean chart. And also, can I mark up USD on two charts? One with Nike tick and one with a different set of indicators. Oh, um, yeah. So if you want to create a new layout, you click this arrow, right? And then you just add a new layout here. And then you do the same thing. So we were looking at ETH earlier, that's why we're looking at ETH now. We're looking at USD here. This is your marked up chart, and your new layout will not have any marks on it. Oh, you can't see? Oh, Wait, let me just take a look. Oh no, it does. It's just this new layout button. That's all. Yeah, it's a really small arrow here. It says manage layouts. Okay, and then load layouts, and then you can get rid of any layouts that you don't want. Yeah, that's it. It's this arrow here, and then it's a new layout. When you click new layout, it'll open another tab and it'll be blank, but looking at the same asset. Okay, that's good. Um, can you mark up USD on two charts so that you can compare the two? Yep, so you can do it like this, so like have it on two layouts. If you want it, yeah, if you want it side by side so that you can compare, you can also do that as well. Let me see. You just click on this square, okay, and then you click on this icon here. So you can do one analysis here and then one here so that you can compare it side by side. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. If there's no other questions, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys. Bye.